Excretion. How do animals know what to pee and poo? Did you know that diarrhea is hereditary? It runs in your genes. Animals either eliminate ammonia from the body quickly or convert it into other nitrogenous compounds that are less toxic. The breakdown of proteins by cells releases a nitrogen containing or nitrogenous waste, ammonia. Ammonia, NH3, is poisonous. Even moderate concentrations of ammonia can kill most cells. The elimination of metabolic wastes, such as ammonia, is called excretion. Some small animals that live in wet environments, such as some flatworms, rid their bodies of ammonia by allowing it to diffuse out of the body fluids across their skin. Most larger animals have excretory systems that process ammonia and eliminate it from the body. Animals that cannot dispose of ammonia continuously as it is produced have ways to store nitrogenous waste until it can be eliminated. In most cases, ammonia itself cannot be stored in the body fluids because it is so toxic. Insects, reptiles, and birds convert ammonia into a sticky white compound called uric acid, which is much less toxic than ammonia and is also less soluble in water. Mammals and some amphibians convert ammonia to a different nitrogenous compound, urea. Urea is less toxic than ammonia, but unlike uric acid, it is highly soluble in water. It is also a fertilizer. Excretory systems are extremely important in maintaining the proper balance of water in blood and body tissues. In some cases, excretory systems eliminate excess water along with nitrogenous wastes. In other cases, excretory systems must eliminate nitrogenous waste while conserving water. Many animals use kidneys to separate wastes and excess water from blood to form a fluid called urine. Kidneys separate water from waste products. Kidney cells pump ions from salt to create osmotic gradients. Water then follows those ions passively by osmosis. Kidneys, however, usually cannot excrete excess salts. Welcome to our ool. Notice there is no P in it. Let's keep it that way. How do aquatic animals eliminate waste? In general, aquatic animals can allow ammonia to diffuse out of their bodies into surrounding water, which dilutes the ammonia and carries it away. Many freshwater invertebrates lose ammonia to their environment by simple diffusion across their skin. Many freshwater fish and amphibians eliminate ammonia by diffusion across the same gill members they use for respiration. The situation is more complex for some freshwater invertebrates and most freshwater fishes. The bodies of freshwater animals, such as fishes, contain a higher concentration of salt than the water they live in. So there's more water, less salt here, but there's less water and more salt in the fish. So water moves into their bodies by osmosis, mostly across the gills. Salt diffuses out. So normally with salt would go out and water would go in because they are more salty than the water. If they didn't excrete water continually, they would look like water balloons with eyes. Freshwater fish excrete water through kidneys that produce lots of watery urine. They don't drink and they actively pump salt in across their gills. So they're receiving water, but they don't drink, and they have salt comes in through their gills, and then the urine passes those salts. To help maintain balance, flatworms have specialized cells called flame cells that remove excess water from body fluids. The excess water travels through excretory tubules and leaves through pores in the skin. Excretory pores. And here's the movement of the water, the tubular cells. Here's the flame cell. Here's the cilia. The fluid movement goes into here and back out, exhausting the waste. Marine invertebrates and vertebrates typically release ammonia by diffusion across the body surfaces or gill membranes. Many marine invertebrates have body fluids with water concentrations similar to that of the seawater around them. For that reason, these animals have less a problem with water balance than do freshwater invertebrates. The bodies of some saltwater animals, such as fishes, contain a lower concentration of salt than the water they live in. So there's less water and more salt here, but there's more water and less salt in the fish. So saltwater fish lose water through osmosis and salt diffuses in. If they don't conserve water and eliminate salt, they'll shrivel up like dead leaves as water would naturally come out by osmosis. So saltwater fish conserve water by producing very little concentrated urine. They drink and they actively pump salt out across their gills. So they drink and then they pump some of that salt out and excrete the rest by urine and as water. So, how do land animals pee and poo and save water too? Let's look at the adventures of pee and poo. Some terrestrial invertebrates, including annelids and mollusks, produce urine in nephridia. Other terrestrial invertebrates, such as insects and arachnids, convert ammonia into uric acid. Mammals and land amphibians convert ammonia into urea, which is excreted into urine. In most reptiles and birds, ammonia is converted into uric acid. So, how do each process the waste? Notice the waste is consistently ammonia, uric acid, urine, urea, all nitrogenous waste. In dry environments, land animals can lose large amounts of water from respiratory membranes that must be kept moist. In addition, they must eliminate nitrogenous waste in ways that require disposing of water, even though they may not be able to drink water if it's not available. Some terrestrial invertebrates, including annelids and mollusks, produce urine in nephridia. Nephridia are tube-like excretory structures that filter body fluids. Body fluids enter the nephridia through openings called nephrostomes and become more concentrated as it moves along the tubes. Urine leaves the body through excretory pores. Nephridia, so it enters into the nephrostome and then is excreted through the excretory pore. Other terrestrial invertebrates, such as insects and arachnids, convert ammonia into uric acid. Uric acid, uric acid is absorbed from body fluids by structures called Malpighian tubules, which concentrate the waste and add them to the digestive waste traveling through the gut. As water is absorbed from these wastes, they form crystals that form a thick paste which leave the body through the anus. Malpighian tubules and leaves through the anus. This paste contains little water, so this process minimizes water loss. In mammals and land amphibians, ammonia is converted into urea, which is excreted in urine by the kidneys. Kidneys stored in the bladder, eliminated through the urethra. Reptiles and birds convert ammonia into uric acid, which is passed through the ducts into a cavity that also receives digestive waste from the gut. The walls of this cavity absorb water from the waste, causing the uric acid to separate out as a thick, milky white paste recognized as bird droppings. This is not a bird dropping, it's just a caterpillar attempting to be ignored with the help of mimicry. Most vertebrate kidneys cannot excrete concentrated salt. That's why most vertebrates cannot survive by drinking seawater. All that extra salt would overwhelm the kidneys and the animal would die of dehydration. The petrel, which hunts for fish in the ocean, has special glands in its nostrils that separate salt from the water it swallows and excretes the salt as a thick, sticky fluid. The kidneys of the kangaroo rat, which live in the desert, produce urine that is 25 times more concentrated than their blood. In addition, Their intestines are so good at absorbing water that their feces is almost dry.